Okay, this is a video response to Mark Fukui. He left a message on the Don Bar Photography critique group on Facebook. However, I'm starting to now not do kind of gear chat on the critique group, so I'm going to pass it all onto YouTube. And he was asking about the Sony A7, which if any of you didn't notice or didn't pay attention, the Sony brought out a new digital SLR camera. Well, it's not an SLR, which is a full frame camera with there's a 24 megapixel and a 36 megapixel, effectively the same sensor that's in the Nikon D800. And because Nikon uses Sony sensors, and it's weird how Sony's finally come out with a camera that can use its own sensors about a year after Nikon uses Sony sensors. A bit of a weird one. Anyway, and the big chat is that it is a full frame, cool, and it's a mirrorless interchangeable camera. So kind of a bit like what you get from the Micro Four Thirds or other stuff. But the main thing is that it's a smaller body. It's able to have a very powerful sensor with great resolution, and which has been claimed to be a fantastic dynamic range and ISO and all that kind of stuff. They're able to have that into a tiny body, which is much smaller than your big ass like digital SLRs. So smaller body, lighter body. Brilliant sensor, lots of megapixels. The downsides though with that from Sony is that it doesn't have a huge selection of lenses at the moment. They're effectively making this a new, is it a new mount? I'm not 100% sure. Check the details there. So if any of you that own Sony, do a good bit of research before you go and buy this. So it may be the case that you can't just use your bog standard lenses without putting a sensor. That is absolutely right. You can't use your bog standard lenses because it's a smaller, thinner camera. There's a less distance from the flange to the sensor or something like that. So there needs to be an adapter put in the middle and all that kind of stuff. So double check that. Otherwise, it's going to start pumping out a whole bunch of new lenses for their cameras. So for me, I just kind of think it's like, woohoo! Look, we've done something different again. Hold on, we need to make new lenses again. Hold on, that we're just doing another thing. It's you know, there's many things in photography which push the boundaries of the technology that they've got. So going up to 36 megapixels, that's awesome. Going up to 10 frames a second, that's awesome. Pushing dynamic range up to that's awesome. Pushing ISO up to 500,000 ISO, that's amazing. Putting it into a smaller body and then meaning that you can't use your lenses with it and all that kind of stuff is just a divergence. It's just another thing. It's not making things better or increasing them. And again, I just think photography's, or certainly camera gear is a funny world where there's just some things where people will spend big money on things which are a bit crap. Or things which are restricted in their dynamic use or whatever best is. Like for example, I think it was Sony brought another camera which was a fixed lens, where it was a 23mm fixed lens, full frame sensor camera as well, and it cost £2,000. You're just like, that's brilliant. That's more. I could buy 3 DSLRs and 3 lenses and a couple of flashes for that, and yet you're giving out a small point and shoot feel like camera for that same kind of price. So again, I think sometimes it's making things for the sake of making things, or making things for the sake of saying, oh, this isn't the smallest digital SLR, this is a mirrorless digital SLR, it's just a new thing. So that's not to say that it's not going to have great images, you're not going to be able to do amazing things with it, absolutely, but it's not something which I think anyone should be kind of going, oh well, I've always been wanting it in a mirrorless body, now I'm going to buy. It just seems to be another thing which, for people with gear acquisition syndrome, where you just keep on buying stuff. It's like, oh, new camera gear, must buy. Ooh. Being that it's mirrorless doesn't make it better. Making it a smaller, lighter body doesn't necessarily make it better either. You know, some people go, oh, well, it's great, it's lighter. Sometimes you don't want lighter. Sometimes you want a chunky thing in your hand. Sometimes holding that with one hand is much easier than holding an iPod like this shaking around. You know, there is a difference in don't just make things smaller for the sake of making it smaller, because it may not be necessarily better. That's the only thing. So I say, if you haven't got any cameras, who would buy this? I don't know who would buy this. I really don't know who the market is for this, because it wouldn't even be current Sony gear owners, because they'd all kind of go, wait, we can't use any of our lenses, it's like buying a whole new system and all that kind of stuff. Bit of an odd one. I don't, it's not like, as well, it's kind of weird. It's like, oh well, this is going to be great for the landscape photographer. Is it? Okay, great resolution, yeah, but you know what? Why is this better than another camera? Well, okay, granted, if you're going hill walking and you want the lightest possible thing on your backpack, but with super high resolution, this may be beneficial. But then it looks like you're going to be carrying around big chunking lenses in your back, so you know, give or take. I think it's going to be a while until there's an actual market for people wanting or needing. You know, I don't think anybody's going to go, oh, I needed this. This is so much better than what I've been currently using. It's just a different body with not really much else to say for it. Okay, but that's just my thoughts. Put your details down below, or tell us what you think. Cheers, bye-bye.